All right. We're going to roll out some dice probabilities, and then we're going to mark them and see what should happen. So 36. So first thing I'm going to do is count 36, and we're just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 36. So I have 36 $1 chips there. Okay, so I'm just doing 36. What is up, Claude? I wanted to roll this out on probability versus outcome. So I have 36 different dollar bills here. And we're not going to be betting, we're just going to be counting rolls. So we're going to put $1 on every roll that hits. And the reason why we're going to do this is because there's 36 different combinations of the dice. So this is a little dice IQ lesson for people, just to know and learn a little bit more about dice. And so first thing we'll say is the dice have 6 sides, and the opposite side always equals 7. So if ever you see a 6, the opposite side is the 1, because that equals 7. 5 plus 2, or 2 plus 5 equals 7. 4 plus 3 equals 7. All right. So there's 7s. If you were to have the one die roll more than another, you'll get a 7. If you'll have them maybe, like if you have them like both fall this way, you'll get a 7. Both fall this way, you'll get a 7. I mean, there's 7s everywhere. If they turn around, you'll have a 7. Like there's 6 ways to make a 7 out of 36 different combinations. So 7's the highest probability. So I have $36 here, just kind of like, just mainly because what should happen is there is 6 ways to make a 7. So say right there on that line, that's the 7. Or I could put it right here on the actual 7. There's 6 different ways to make a 7. So out of 36 different rolls, we should see 6 7s rolling. So the other, look at all the other options to bet on would be if there's only going to be 6 7s out of 36 rolls, then we have all these other 30 rolls. We have 30 rolls that we can get paid on. Now the 2 has one way and the 12 has one way. The 3 has 2 ways and the 11 has 2 ways. Okay. And then the 4 has 3 ways to make a 4. There's 3 ways to make a 10. And there are 4 ways to make a 5. There are 9 ways to make, 4 ways to make a 9. So these are the same. And what we have left is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5. 5 ways to make a 6 and 8. So there's 36 different combinations of the dice, and there's 5 ways to make a 6 and 8. Now, one thing that you might hear called is like sister numbers. Why do they call them sister numbers? The reason why they call them sister numbers is because whatever's on the other side of the die is the sister number. So the 2 and the 12 are sisters. It's what's on the bottom whenever the dice roll. So if you had a 4 showing, the opposite would be a 10. Now, all you have to do is remember that the other side of the die equals 7. So if there are 2 4s, then or 2 2s, sorry, there's 2 5s on the other side. When there was 1s, 1 plus 6 equals 7, so the 6s are on the other side. But very rarely do the dice fall like this, because there's only one way to make that number and this number. But a 10 can also be made as a 6-4. So if it's a 6-4, then you'll know that the other side of the dice is going to be a 4. Now, not because of 6-4, but a 10, the other side is a 4. So you're only going to see a 4 or a 10 either this way, or if this one was a 1 and this one was a 3. So you're still going to only see a 1-3, 3-1, or you'll see a 2-2. So those are the three ways to make a 4. 6-4 or 5-5, you'll see a hard 10 or a regular 10, a 6-4 10. And when you see a 5, you'll see a 5 like this. Now you'll know whenever you see a 5 on the top, you'll notice that there will be a 9 on the bottom. All right. And whenever you see a 6, you know that there will be an 8 on the bottom. So the opposite, 4 and 10 go together, 5 and 9 go together, 6 and 8 go together as far as sisters. Now you might hear this term brothers, like, what do you mean brothers? Well, brothers are usually the next number over. So a 6 has an 8, which is the sister, so the brother is the 5. The 8 has a 6 as a sister, so the brother is a 9. And I don't hear that term a lot, but if you ever hear brother, it's the one next to it. So 4 and 5 are brothers, 6 and 5 are brothers, but 6 and 4 are not brothers. So the family gets complicated. Let's just say that. But the 4, and I know it's hard because you can't see them, but the 4, 5, and 6 are what's known as downtown. Okay, if you ever hear that term, downtown. The 8, 9, and 10 are usually what's called uptown. And the 5, 6, 8, and 9 are usually what's called inside. And this is interesting because the 5 and 9 can be inside, but they can also be outside, because the 4, 5, 9, and 10 would be called the outside. So if you say to your dealer, throw them some money and say, give me downtown, they should do the 4, 5, and 6. If you say uptown, they should put the 8, 9, and 10. And then if you say inside, that should be the 5, 6, 8, and 9. If you say outside, it should be the 4, 5, 9, and 10. So that's kind of like how the terminology and how you could use it. But what I want to do is I want to roll these dice probabilities, okay? So the probabilities of this dice is that there's 36 different combinations. That means after 36 rolls, okay, it should look something like this, meaning that we should have 6 7s. We should roll one of these, like this is how it should go. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to actually take all this down, and we're going to roll 36 different rolls, and we're going to mark them as we roll them, and then we're going to see how everything rolled. Like, how did the probability pan out? Now, when most people say the dice are all random, and so that it doesn't matter what you bet, like the 7's the most probable number, it's going to come all the time. It should come every 6 rolls. So if it comes every 6 rolls, then that's like the average, right? It should be 6 times out of 36 rolls. What I want to say about random versus probability is, when you think of probability of the actual 36 rolls coming out exactly like, a chart that shows the 7 as the most or whatever, this is in like a larger span than just 36 rolls, and a larger span than just a session that you would play. If you played dice or craps, if you played craps for maybe 5 hours, you might get 200, 300 rolls maybe. And a sample size of an actual probability random, that whole graph we were talking about, is usually around 10,000 rolls. So whenever you play craps, you're going to get a piece of the 10,000 rolls. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do just a piece, 36 rolls, and see which numbers roll. I'm not going to set or anything. I'm going to totally shake them and throw them. And we'll see if it ends up like the random chart like it should, or are we just going to get a picture of what is rolling now? And let's see what happens. It is a 2. So mark that one off, because that one, there's only one way. So out of all these 36 rolls, that one shouldn't happen again. Based on probability. All right, here we go. And how about a 10? Okay, so a 10. Now we rolled a 10 here. Now I'm not going to mark it on the hard 10. I'm just going to mark the 10. Because technically we should only see the hard 10 one time, and the 6, 4, 10 we should see 2 times. But if it's a 10, we're going to mark it. All right, here we go. There is another 10. All right, so probability, wow, I mean, that's 3 rolls. Okay, and we're hitting things that don't have a high probability of hitting. Probability versus outcome, right? Here's a 5, and that goes right there. Here we go, we're going to shake them up again, throw them, and it's behind the ship here. So let's move the ship, and it looks like it is a 2, 4, 6, 2 by 4. So that's a 6. So we're going to go ahead and mark that. And here we go with another roll. And it's a 9. Okay. So far, we're getting some good distribution as far as multiple numbers being rolled. We haven't seen the bad one yet. And some people say you shouldn't even talk about it or even say it or think it, because then it might come. Is that like superstition, or is that randomness, or is that probability, or is that superstition? There's a 5. There's a 5, so we got another 5 there. So technically out of 36 rolls, we should only get 2 more 5s. Okay, let's see what happens. There's a 6, a 5, 1, 6, but it is a 6. Here we go, let's roll. And it is a 10. We got another 10, and it's a 6, 4, 10. All right, so there's that. And here we go with another roll. Let's see what happens. And it's a 6, another 6. Now, out of 36 rolls, we should see 5 6s. We already have 3, so let's see what happens. And it's a 12. So we got the 12. And we hit the ship there. But we did get the 12, so there's the 12. I'm going to put that right there. And there's the 2. So we shouldn't see the 2 or 12 anymore, but let's see what happens. There is a 10, hard 10 this time. So we do have a 10, and we are over performing on the 10. That means we're going to underperform on another number. So let's see what number that will be. There's an 8. So now we have an 8. And we haven't got a 4 yet. And there's a 6. We got another 6. And so there is a 6. And that's 4 6s so far. We should have one more, at least one more 6, right? And there's it. There's a hard 6. There is a 6. So there is that. And we haven't seen the 4. So come on, Mr. Dice, give us a 4, you know? And there's an 8, which is twice as many as a 1 4. All right, here we go. We got another 8. Let's get a 4. We haven't got that. Okay, there's the 7. First 7 came 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 rolls. And then we got our first 7 after 16 rolls. Now we should have got it after 6 rolls. So we're just going to use the same dice, and we're just going to use the same pattern. We still got some rolls to do. Here we go. And it's an 8. So here we go on the 8 again. And there's the third 8. Here we go. And there's another 12. Well, that wasn't supposed to happen. And so we got 2 12s so far in 36 rolls. And we got another 5. 5. So We're overperforming on the 12 and the 10 right now. And there's the 3. That's our first 3. We'll put that right there next to the 3. And here we go. There is a 5. All right, so we got our quota on our 5 because we got 4 5s. And we're a little short on that 4 and the 9. So let's see what happens. There is the 9, speaking of. So let's get the 9 again. So that's the second 9 we have. Here we go. And it is a 3. Okay, we're supposed to get 2 3s out of 36 rolls. So we got our quota on our 3s. But let's see what happens and see if we hit another one. There's an 8. There's an 8. And that's the 4th 8 that we have. All right, here we go. And there's the Yo 11. Yo 11. And so we're supposed to get at least 2 of those, but there's one of them. All right, here we go. And this one is a 6, 4, 2, 6. So that one we're going to try to get out of here, and then we will put the ship back, and then we'll get our 6. So we're overperforming on the 6 and underperforming on the 8 right now. Here we go. There's the 8. The 8 said, I will not be outdone. So there is 5 ways to make an 8. We have 5 8s. Here we go. And 7. All right, so we got our next 7. So here is that. Now we haven't got any 4s yet. So let's see what happens. Here we go. It's a 5. So we got another 5. We're overperforming on the 5s, underperforming on the 9s. And that is a 6, another 6. The 6 will not be outdone by anyone. And so let's do, we haven't got a 4. This is strange, isn't it? All right, how about it? There's an 8 that will fall. It is an 8. So the 8 says, 6 will not outdo me. All right, here we go. So we got 6 8s and 7 6s. Maybe I shouldn't have said the word 7. Oh my goodness. There's a 3. The 3 craps 3. 3 3s when we should have only had 2. Oh my goodness. Here we go. And it is another 3. The 3 says, I hear you. I see you, 6 and 8. Watch out, because here I come. Craps 3. And there is a 7. All right, so there's another 7. And we have one more roll left. All right, one more roll left. And then we're going to see what our distribution is. Here we go. And it is an 8. So the 8 said, no way, Mr. 6. There's no way that you're going to get more. So we have 7 6s, 7 8s, 0 4s out of 36 rolls. Can you imagine that? 36 rolls and 0 4s. We did get every other number, but look, we should have had, based on probability, 36 different rolls, 6 ways to make a 7. We should have had 6 7s and we only had 3. So just with that simple roll, shaking like that and throwing them, we just did 3 of them. So this time, what we're going to do is whatever the dice hit, we're going to bring them back, and then we're just going to pick them up like this, and then we're going to throw them without shaking them. And we're going to see what kind of distribution we get based on without shaking them and just holding them and throwing them with whatever come our way. And it doesn't matter, like if it spins or whatever, it's like whatever comes our way. All right, so let's record that, maybe get a picture, screenshot. There you go. That was the first one. So yeah, we didn't get any 4s. The 9 really underperformed and the 5 overperformed, but the 6 and 8 pretty consistent, right? Now, what if every time we do this, we see the same thing happen with the 6 and 8 in everybody's rolls? I mean, there's 5 ways to make a 6. There's 5 ways to make an 8. So to combine, there's 10 ways out of 36 different combinations to make a 6 or 8. So let's pick some different dice, shake them up, and see which dice we're going to pick on this time. Here we go. we're going to pick those two. All right, so this is how we picked them, and that's how we're going to throw them. Here we go. And that's a 7. So 7 says, I will not be outdone by the 6 and 8. So I'm picking it up just like that and throwing it. And it's a 3. So here goes the 3. And there it is. And then we're picking it up, we're throwing it, and there's another 3. And here it is. Picking it up, we're throwing it, and it is a 10. Okay, a 10 right there. Picking it up, just like we get it, we're picking it up. Okay, there's a 9. So let's mark that 9. We're just picking it up just like that. The 9's still showing, and we're just tossing them. And we're not even being like against the wall straight. We're just, it's really kind of like, you know, whatever, 10. It's really like at an angle. Like I'm not even throwing them straight this way. So some people think and may say that matters. I do think it matters, but I'm going to just grab them like this and throw them. And that is an 8. All right, there's an 8. Here we're grabbing them and throwing them, and it's another 8. And we're going to grab them and throw them. And this one is a 10 again, a 10. And we're going to just grab them and throw them. There's a 9, another 9. And we're going to mark that, and here we go. So we're just grabbing them with the 9 on the top, and we're just throwing them. We're not letting them run around in our hand or in the air either, just so you know. So there's another 10. So what I mean in the air is when I throw them, I'm just trying to make sure they stay together. Okay, here we go. And there's another 10. Now remember, I threw that from a 10, a hard 10, or was it a 9? I think it was a 9, and then now it's a 10. All right, now what is it? It is an 11, yo 11. So whenever you see the dice leaning, what they should do before they call it, they should move whatever's obstructing it or move whatever it's on, and then however it falls like that. Now, if it's against the wall, they would make a call that if you move the wall, which way would the dice go? So there's an 11. Put our 9 back there. So now we have 11. We're just grabbing it, and we're going to throw it. And there's an 8, another 8, 6, 2, 8. Now, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about dice as soon as we get through with this experiment here. There's a 2. We knew we would probably see that at least once, right? At least probability-wise. And there's another 2. So how did that happen? I'm just playing. All right, there's another 2. And if we get, okay, I saw another one and I was getting scared there. Another 2? Oh my goodness. There's the first 5 of this round. Here we go. And it's an 8, an 8. So now that we have an 8, the 6 is like, how dare you leave me in the dust? There's the 7. The 7 says, don't forget about me. I will take your money. All right, here we go. From the 7 on the top, we got another 7. And the 7 says, don't call it a comeback. All right, here from the top, and there is a 6. Okay, the 6 says, I'm in it to win it. The 4 hasn't played today at all. And there's another 7. And that's the 4th 7. All right. And there's the third 2 that we got on this round, on this hand. Here we go. How about a 12? The other side of the 2 is the 12. And so we should see at least one of those out of 36 rolls. There's a 5, a 4, 1, 5. How many things is pretty remarkable that the 4 hasn't even came to play out of not just 36 rolls, but a whopping however many we're doing here. This is a 10 on top. And there's a 5. I thought for sure the 4 was ready to play. 4, are you coming to play? And there's a 9, a 9. The 9's outperforming last time, that's for sure, with 1 more. And there is a 7. The 7 says, I am the king of dice. Here we go. There is a 9. So the 9 is met its quota for 36 rolls. There's 4 ways to make it. We should see it at least 4 times. There's the 3. We see three times when we only should have saw it twice, but we did see another 5. So now the 5 and 9 are performing as expected. And here we go with another 5. The 5 says I am above average and has 5 rolls on the 5 when it should have had 4. We got 3 rolls left. Let's see what happens. There is another 5. 5 is ready to take the lead. And the 6 just kind of gave up this time, I think, because the 8 says, I will take it. There's the 8, the hard 8. And the 8 hit 5 times. We got 1 more roll. And it is a 5. The 5 way overperformed this time. So, as you can see, the 11 and 3, the 3 overperformed on the 11. The 2 way outperformed because you should only have 1, so it's 3 times as much. So imagine the 5 being 3 times as much, right? But it is a 3 more throws than it should. So 7 altogether. The 7, there was only last time there was only 3. This time there's 5, and the 10 with 5 is overperforming. But look, the 4, we never hit that 4. You know, what is up with that? All right, so what we're going to do this time, and we're going to actually set the dice and throw them and see what our probabilities are. And I'm actually going to set for the 4. I'll show you my set, and then we'll see if we can get it to hit. And take a screenshot. There it is. Cha-ching! That's just grabbing and throwing them. The first time was really just shaking them up and throwing them. And so now we're going to see what happens with the... Now you might say, Brian, why are we even doing this? Why does this even matter? Just to show you, if you would have bet the 5 that time, just bet the 5 from the beginning and pressed and collected along the way, you would have made a lot of money there on that 9 and the 10. You probably wouldn't have made much on the 6 or the 4, but getting all the numbers, I think, is pretty important, okay? Because that can happen. But also the 7 can happen. So you might say, Brian, the 7 came in between these 5s, so you wouldn't have made that much money. But there was a time where we had 3 5s in a row. What if I was to tell you, you get 3 numbers in a row or 3 numbers before you get a 7, you can make money no matter what, if you know how to bet. So rolling is one thing, betting is another. Right now we're just talking about probability versus outcome, because just because there's probability in math doesn't mean that that's going to be the outcome. And all my math guys out there, they'll probably be hating this video. I'm of the opinion that you can't mathematically equate randomness. And I don't know why you guys think that you can. I don't know. Never mind. That's just my opinion. Okay, I'm not as smart as everyone else. All right, here we go. This time we picked 2 different ones. This time we have another 36 rolls. We're going to set them. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set as fast as I can. So this might take a little bit longer, but let me show you the set I'm going to do. I'm going to do a 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay? It's not a popular set. It's not a set that everybody uses all the time. But it has a 4 on top. It has a 3. It has a 10. And it has an 11. Now, depending on how these roll, we'll see how many 7s we get with this combination. I am going to just roll it in the shot. Normally, you would be farther back and have more of a release and all that. So that's why I'm trying to save up for my very own full-size craps table, which you can support by liking this channel, subscribing to this channel, giving a super chat down there over next to the and we do have channel members. And you could go to holyroller.com and get yourself a Let's Roll embroidered hat with some dice and the Holy Roller R right there. You know what I'm saying? We do have t-shirts over there too. All kinds of different t-shirts, always working, light side, dark side, Horn High Yo shirt. There's all kinds of shirts that are pretty awesome with crap sayings on them. So let's roll the first one and see what happens here. And it is a 7. All right, there, that is right there. So I'm gonna try to set, like I said, I'm gonna try to set this as fast as possible. So there's the set that I'm doing, the same set. And it's a 10. All right, there's the 10. And this, like I said, this is gonna be, like I said, I'm trying to do as fast as I can. It's not as fast as the other rolls, but just bear with me here. There's a 9. And when you saw that come out 7, the first one being a 7, you go, oh, I know how this is gonna go. there's an 8. There's an 8. And here we go again. We're gonna try to set these again pretty quick. Once you have a set and you use it, and you can really find it pretty quick, especially if you know there's 2, craps 2. You'll probably know where the dice are, because you'll know that the other side is equals 7, so you know how to find your set pretty quick. But the best way to have a set and find a set is start from the 6s on top. So as long as the 6s are on top, you could probably find your set pretty easy and quick. And there is a 9. There's a 9. And we haven't got the 4 to come out and play this whole time. And some people, they talk about dice influence. This sounds, you're gonna think I'm crazy here, but I actually believe in dice influence, because when I'm talking about dice influence, I'm talking about speaking it. There's a 4. I said we'll get the 4 to come out and play. You can influence, and I think everybody, kind of believes in dice influence in some way or another, because when you use your words and you speak, that happens. And that's why people don't want people to say the bad number at the table. They don't want to hear it, see it. Don't put it out in the universe. Don't manifest it. Don't, whatever. There's a yo 11. So there's an 11. All right, here we go. And it's funny how people won't believe dice influence, but they believe like that rolling a bowling ball down a lane can get a strike, and it has nothing to do with skill. They say it's all random. That ball rolling down there and hitting 10 pins is all random. Or that's a 8. Or what's another example? Put an example in the chat if you have one of people that say things are random, or the probability of something happening, and then it happens a lot. You know what I mean? And so, what is that? What is that? Is that like, how do you talk out of that? How do you get out of that? How do you, if it goes one way, and you have your probability, but it happens over and over. I don't know. Are we just in some type of simulation? There's our first 6. And so, yeah. So speaking of 6, that's our first one. We haven't got a 5 yet. So come alive, number 5. How about a 2 again? Wow, 2. A little overperforming on the 2, but we do want the 5. So we're going to talk about the 5 until we see the 5. Not that we're going to. There's a yo 11. Not that we're going to get the 5 just because we're talking about it, but we don't want to talk about a bad number, or the highest probability, because if the way, we should have had a lot more bad numbers by now, but you never know. They can make a comeback. There's a 10. There's a 10. They can make a comeback. Never count them out. Never count them out, because they're there. There's a yo. All right. And we haven't got a lot of 4s. Wow, I can't believe it. So here we go with another one here. And there's a 5. 5, the first one. Remember, we were talking about you earlier, number 5. Number 5 is alive. Here we go. Can we get another 5? Is this when the 5s come to play? No, the 8's coming back. Here we go with another 8. And now we do this again. And let's see what happens. There's another 5. All right, another 5. And there's that. And I think, am I pulling the dice too low for you to see them? All right, here we go. I'm doing the same set. There's another 9. And here we go again with the same exact set. And there's a 6. And here we go again. 1, 2, 3, 1. Making the dice fly together until they land. There's another 6. That's at least what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to keep them together, so when I put it right here, I'm grabbing them, I'm squeezing them together, and then I'm holding them really lightly when I throw them against the wall. There's a 9. And I don't want them to roll too much. I want them to hit the wall and stop. I don't want them to come all the way around. I want them to hit the table before they hit the wall, and I want them to not fly all the way back, you know? All right, there's a 7. The second one. And like, I don't want them to be too crazy. I want the dice to just kind of go over there and stop. You know, there's a 9. There's a 9. And so if you were playing, if somebody was shooting like this, and there's another 7. 7's coming back. 7's making a comeback. And 7's like, don't forget about me. If you were playing like this, which number, like, this is the thing that I think a lot of people don't realize. There's another 10. Like, which number would you be betting right now? Now, I know the 7s came, but before the 7s came, how many 9s were hitting, you know? And so these are, there's another 6. So these are the things that you can notice when because if you were here at the beginning, or if you remember what I said, these randomized dice setting, or randomized shaking, or randomized results of probability is in like 10,000 rolls, and you're not going to be there for 10,000 rolls. So you're getting a little section of what's happening right now. And when you do get a little section of what's happening right now, there's another 3. You want to be able to bet what's happening right now. And I think a lot of times people just have their bets. Like, these are the bets I do, and I always do them, just like on roulette. Like, I always bet the number 10 because that's my anniversary or my birthday or whatever. Like, they have their favorite numbers. And I think that's what people do in craps. I think people have their favorite numbers that they bet, whether they roll them, or maybe they made a lot of money on them one time. You know, there's another 7. And there's this setting. And so I think a lot of times people just bet the same. And so for me, no matter all the 7 outs and all the different stuff, on this table at this time, during this set, I know I can make some money on the 9, you know. There's a 5. And we have one more roll left. So will we get another 9 to end it? Let's see. Nope. The 7 says, how dare you try to outplay me? All right. So the 9 really outperformed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Double. We should have had 4, but we had 8. So we doubled it. The 10 outperformed. The 6 and 8 underperformed by 1. The 5 underperformed by 1. The 4, we only got 1. We never got a 12 on that one, or a 3. So pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Pretty dang interesting, huh? All right, let me check the chat, and then go ahead and take a snapshot. Chick, whatever. And you'll see that if I did a different set and rolled the same table, same distance, same like just being very consistent. So because I was consistent, uh, like I would have to do this probably 10,000 rolls, right? To see if that set right here on this table gave me, because to have that many nines just in 36 rolls is, I should have had that many nines in 72 rolls, but I doubled the amount of nines that hit. And is it because I can control the dice? Is it because it's random? Is it because this is just like a little snippet of the 10,000 and then we'll never see nines like we barely saw the fours? Like, is that's what's going to happen? Or is there is there something to it, you know? Let me check the chat and see if there's any comments. 2121 set. Yeah, Dylan, Skill and Luck has the dice sets that he on one of our lives, he gave me a dice set and I rolled, and I forget how many times I rolled, but it was way over average. It was way over average doing one of those dice sets. So yeah. So Claude says the Cowboy Valley and Timberline Junction Railroad, his wife played, she must have thrown 25 nines in 2 hours of holding the dice, and 14 passes, like won the point 14 times. So what you're saying is don't play the don't pass on when your wife's rolling. What did you pick why did you pick that dice set instead of a different set? I just picked that set. I've I like it because it's very 1 2 3. You know, I like 1 2 3 and then start over 1 2 3. That's kind of why I did that dice set. I like that it has 4s and 10s on it. Like Waylon says, money. You win money on the 4s and 10s. So I would have. I don't know if you saw, but I did overperform on that 10 as well. And man, I love winning some 4s and 10 money. That's good payouts. And hardway sets will roll. yeah. That's the thing. So whenever it was so crazy. I was at there was somebody I was at, and I kept doing this set right here. I would set it up, and I would go like this, and then I'd go like this, and then I'd go like this, and somebody was watching me, and they're like, "No, don't do that." But it wasn't the hard way set. It was the 6/8 set or an upside down 3V set, you know, like this. But I was rolling and I was rolling, and he's like, "Hey, just once for me, would you just please put it back like this? Put it with the 4-2-4-2." And I go, "Okay, I will." I was out of the hand by then, and I threw it, and it 7'd out right then. And so it's funny how those happen, not just like a set like this, but when people start begging for a number or really wanting a number, it's like, just be happy that the bad number doesn't roll. Don't beg for your number. And sometimes people will bet, like, there'll be just a pass line with odds players, so it'll be an 8. They'll have the pass line with odds and a hard 8, and they're just yelling over there, hard 8, get the hard 8. It's like, why don't you bet something else? Why don't you bet the other numbers? That's what I feel like yelling back at them. So I wanted to jump on and do this, and so if I did pick that other set, I think I have a couple more minutes. I could do another roll of 36. It just depends on if I could get that set to be pretty quick. I'm not used to doing that set, so it might take me harder to find it. What was it? 2121? Shouldn't be hard to find. All right, so 2121, 2121. Okay, let's see what happens. We're gonna do 36 of this set. Of course, this isn't like, it's just not long enough for me to actually get a good throw. And then if I was up here, I'd be in front of you if I was trying to square out my body. And why do people tell people when they box that they should, there's a certain way they should hand their feet, that have their hands and feet, or when they play basketball, that they should square up and shoot the ball with their hand on the side. There's certain mechanics that they should do when they play basketball, when you boxing, when you do, I mean, any sport, right? And you might say, is dice a sport? For some of us, it could be a sport because some people think it's a lazy person's game because they're like, look at those guys just standing there leaning on the table. Well, if you were standing around for 3 or 4 hours without sitting down, you'd probably be leaning too. So don't be judging. But what I'm saying is, there's mechanics and there's skill and there's skill and luck. Shout out. And there's technique involved in all of this stuff. So let's see. But again, there's a 7. I don't know if that's what you wanted me to do, but that happened. I'm just playing. 2-1, 2-1. See, it's going to take me a while to find that one. All right, there we go. We found it. But throwing the dice, 7 again. Am I doing it right? I'm just playing. All right, here we go. 2-1, 2-1. Oh, there's a 4, hard 4. 4 came to play. That made it easy because it landed the way I had it set. That would be awesome if that would always happen. There's a 4, 2, 6. And that one landed, and this one kind of spun a little bit over. Here we go. There's a yo 11. Yo 11. And we're going to do another 2-1, 2-1. And for those that are watching, and maybe you missed the beginning, here's a 7. Remember, the opposite side of the dice always equals 7. So if you see a 2, the 5's on the other side. If you see a 4, the 3's on the other side. And if you see a 6, the 1's on the other side. That makes it easy to know where each number is on the die, especially if you want to try to set. There's an 8. And a 5. And we'll see if this gives a probable, like there's another 5. We'll see if this set, just based on me throwing it and this dice set, if it's going to give a a primary number. It would be very interesting. There's a 4. It would be very interesting that if I rolled that same dice set that I did again, would I get the same results on the 9, or would there be another number that would just start coming out? Here's another 4. So they're very, now that I'm kind of, if I do have any skill, that when they do land, if it's not random, then it seems sometimes they are landing pretty good. Now, you might see people use, there's another 7. You might see people use different colored dice, and that's because they want to know what their dice are doing. They'll have one color on one side, one color on the other. Now, you can't do that on a craps table, of course, in a casino, but you can practice that way to see what happened to this die. The left die would always be the same color, and then you can at least see what happened, like did it land the way it was supposed to land, as far as did they react the same. So there's another 5. And there's a 4. That spun. It was a 4. 3-1-4. Another 7. I'm getting a lot of 7s on this one. But, maybe that's because there's some mathematical equation that somebody will tell me about. Or just tell me that each individual roll has the same exact, okay, what was that, 6? Sorry, I almost lost my train of thought talking about each individual roll has its own outcome, individual from any kind of set, or there's a 12. or the other thing is like if it hits the wall first or it doesn't hit the wall first, like that will have the same probability of outcome. There's another 4. We got the sevens are performing really well, but so are the 4s. And there's a 10. Don't forget about 10 on the end, the other side of the 4. And so here we go. There's a yo 11. Sorry, I'm trying to roll them where you actually see them. I'm trying not to roll them too far back over there where you can't see them. There's a 9. First 9. And, you know, somebody else rolls the same set, or even if I roll this same set on a different table from a different spot with a different bounce, I think there's a 9. I think you'd get a different result, you know? And so that's why I think people have different sets that they like to use based on the bounce of the table, based on the length of the table, based on the size of the dice, based on where they are on the table. That was another 7, by the way. So we got 6 of them. And there's another 7. And so some people might say, well, you underperformed on the 7 last time. That's why you're overperforming on the 7 this time. There's a yo 11. And the thing is, I'm not trying to like take a stand, make a stand, or come up with a, you know, decree or a creed for my 9. Whoops, sorry, my 9. Or dice setting or throwing or probability versus random and all that kind of stuff. But I think even when you show, this is just there's a 10. This is just my what do you call it? My opinion. I'm of the opinion that somebody that doesn't believe that you can influence the dice or throw them in a certain way to make the 7 not show up as much, there's another 10, or overperform a number more than another number, even if you showed them like right before their very eyes, they would still say, oh, well, that's just an anomaly. They would still say, it's still all random, like you just happen to get lucky. Or like, it's funny how, I don't know, I don't even want to talk about it. I think it's funny how many people say they don't believe in luck, but then they attribute, they don't use the word luck, but they use another word to kind of say that you were lucky or whatever, or whatever. Like, it's almost like you can't change their mind no matter what. Because when people have their mind made up, and the most, there's another 10. I think the most most intelligent people I know, they have it all together because they know they don't have it all together, and they admit they don't have it all together. The most ignorant people I happen to know, there's an 8. They think they know it all. That's the funny thing. And when I say ignorant, I mean ignorant and arrogant, they almost sound the same. They almost look the same when you see them, when you write them down. Ignorant and arrogant are very close to each other. There's another 8. We got one more roll left. And I'm not trying to be either arrogant or ignorant. There's a 7. 7, wow, the 7's like, I will kill you. All right, so there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it overperformed by 2, 6 under, 4 and 5. Really good performers. The 11's a good performer. So I'll put that back right up there. You could screenshot that. Chick chick. And so let's check the chat and see if. So yeah, if yeah, 4 and 10 beat the 7 again. Oh man. That's a good saying right there. The 4 and 10 beat the 7 again. We should write a song about that. Oh man. But yeah, so when you think about like the probability versus outcome, and I should probably do another video talking about house edge, because that's a whole nother rant that the house edge thing just drives me crazy. Which I'm not going to go into it right now. But probability versus outcome, you know, you're only there for a sliver of a 10,000 roll experiment. You got to think of it like that. And during that experiment, you're only going to get like 200 or 300 rolls. If you're there for a long time, you'd be lucky if you get that many rolls. But if you do, you have to know, okay, what part of the pattern am I in, or what is the probability? Yeah, I know the probabilities, but I know the outcomes, and I see the outcomes happening right in front of me. And most people that play craps, and this is why I'm talking about it, and then I have to get going, so this video is going to be done in just a second. But this is why I'm talking about it. I'm talking about it because people watch a roll or a hand where they could have made $1,000. They just watch it pass by, and they watch 5 or 6 fives roll, and then they bet the 5, or they watch 4 fours roll, and then they bet the 4. It's like, why did you wait until the 4th one to bet the roll? Like, get it out there, and then whatever hits, you got to be more committed to it instead of just going for one hit. Like, a lot of times people, like, same bet drives me crazy, by the way. When people, they put out all their money and then they're risking 64 across or something, and a 4 hits and they say same bet. It's like, what? You can make that 25 easy. You can make a $10 4 to 25 and still have $3 back in your rack. And you're saying same bet? Like, you really want, out of $64, you're content with 18? Like, what? So I don't know. I always think you should press and then collect and then regress. I mean, the idea is, how much do you want to press? How much do you want to collect? And do you even need to regress after, if you're actually hitting the numbers? So anyway, that's my thoughts. Thanks, Waylon, for being here. Yeah, I always bet the 4 and 10 too. I do show some strategies where I'm just doing inside stuff, mainly for a lot of people. But when I'm on the cruise and I'm at the table, a lot of times I have my 4 and 10 working on the come out, because that's a good hit when it comes out on a 4 and 10. That's for sure. But thanks, Waylon, for being here. Claude, for being here. Every roll is its own, with an exclamation point. Well, but then also you say true. I don't know, maybe something I said or something that Waylon said. But yeah, thanks for being here, guys. I really appreciate it. And until next time, I hope to see you cruising and rolling on a craps table soon. See ya.